The NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100, get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/wynnbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET. Welcome, everyone, to the NFL Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Sunday early evening here on NFL Week 10, here to discuss the Monday Night Football game. And it's going to be a NFC East divisional matchup between the Washington Commanders heading to the city of brotherly love to take on the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. We'll get into that game in a bit here on this episode, but joining me as usual on these Monday Night Football betting preview shows, you know him on the voice of the MLB Gambling Podcast, and of course here on the NFL Gambling Podcast with myself. It's Dylan Rockford. Dylan, how's it going, my man?
Oh, it's doing good, Munaf. Good to be with you. Exciting day of football, and I didn't know what to do with myself. My Jets didn't play, but hey, we had the game of the year, so can't wait to break out into it. And we got some plays for Monday night.
Yeah, definitely exciting day of football here in Week 10. You mentioned it there, the game of the year between the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills, and I think, aside from the game, Dylan, leading up to this game, there was a lot of uncertainty if Josh Allen was going to play or not in this game. And we saw the line move up and down all throughout the week. I think this number opened up 8.5 in favor of the Bills. Then we got the news of Josh Allen may or may not play, dealing with a UCL injury. And the line moved from 7.5 down to 6.5. I think it got as low as I want to say down to 3.5. And then as I think Saturday night, that said that Josh Allen would be a go. That number I think closed, I want to say, around 6.5 for the Buffalo Bills. But outside of that, Dylan, I mean, by far, I think the game of the year between the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills here. Last season, the Buffalo Bills were involved in probably one of the best playoff games in a long time versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So it just seems like the Buffalo Bills are always in these fun and exciting games, but they ended up on the wrong side of that game here tonight after the Vikings get the 33-30 victory over the Buffalo Bills. I don't know where to start with this game, Dylan. Why don't you give your thoughts? Justin Jefferson, I think, is a man among boys. I'll start with that.
Yeah, man amongst boys. Like I think you said it on Twitter, we need to go and get it. I think everybody should go and get a Justin Jefferson jersey. He's not from this planet. 10 catches for 193 yards. That one catch, I don't even have words. I don't even know how he grabbed it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he stole it out of the air, but I mean, he's winning me my fantasy league, so I love Justin Jefferson. If I win my fantasy league, I might get a Justin Jefferson tattoo. This is how much this guy means to me. But I think also another huge addition a couple of weeks ago by the deadline, TJ Hawkinson. He came up big on a bunch of third downs late in the game, 7 catches for 45 yards, but they even ran the ball really well. Dalvin Cook had 119 yards. And I really thought Kirk Cousins, those 2 picks, I really thought were going to come back and hurt them. But they're the comeback kids. They've won every game. They win by one score. So people say it's fluky. They're a fluke 7-1 or 8-1 team now, but I think they're legit.
Yeah, I think this was like, you take a look at their record. They are 7-1 now, improved to 8-1. But a lot of people were saying they just don't have that signature win on their schedule. Week 1, they beat the Packers. Maybe that was a game where the Packers offense was making adjustments in life without Devontae Adams. But now they go into Buffalo, where it's probably one of the more tougher environments to play in, just because they have one of the best fan bases, if not the best fan base in the entire National Football League. But for this team, and for Kirk Cousins to go in there and not only play from what they were down, what, 14 points, 17 points in that game?
Yeah, I think 14 they were down the most.
Yeah, for them to come back and not only, get the touchdown that gave them the lead, but we knew that there was enough time for Josh Allen, that offense, to come at least down and at least tie the game up and send it into overtime. But for them to get the field goal in overtime, they had the opportunity to get the touchdown, but the sack really threw that plan in the water for the Buffalo Bill. Sorry, for the Minnesota Vikings. But give them credit. Look, Patrick Peterson came up with a huge interception to seal the game, and
Yeah.
it was, yeah, by far one of the best games that we have had all season. If not, like I mentioned, the best game so far this year, Dylan.
Yeah, and it always seems that the Bills and Josh Allen, whenever it gets to overtime, it seems like they never get a chance to tie it or get a chance to go and win the game. So good for teams in the AFC East like myself and the Jets. But I really think the Bills need to address that running back position, because still
Yeah.
it's not good when the quarterback is leading the team in the day with rushing yards. 6 carries for 84 yards. That can be, especially when he's hurt. You don't want your quarterback running all the time. So Singletary, Duke Johnson, Isaiah McKenzie, they need to step up, because when it comes down later in the year and during playoffs, you're going to need a guy to run the ball. You always can't count on Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. So that kind of was my big takeaway.
Yeah, and I know there were rumors that they were trying to go out and trade for Christian McCaffrey and whatnot, but when you have 2 to 3 different guys in your backfield, that just means you don't have a guy in your backfield. Look,
Yeah.
Singletary had 2 touchdowns today. That's great, but at the end of the day, when you're trying to seal a game, you need to have that running back that can go out and get those yards for you, and you don't have to heavily rely on Josh Allen. Like you mentioned, he led the team um, in rushing yards, and that's been the case a lot of time for this team with the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, tough loss for them. Huge victory for the Minnesota Vikings. I think we can say that they have almost, or pretty much, have locked up that NFC North division this season. But outside of that, Dylan, anything else that caught your eye today around the league?
The Munich game was good. It was finally it was interesting. The Bucks offense, especially the first half, looked really competent. They were actually able to run the ball, but it was nice they got a win on the road, 5-5. Things are starting to look better. Divorce Tom Brady 2-0, so, and he stays undefeated overseas. But Justin Fields too. What a performance by Justin Fields. I mean, you got to continue to bet the over on the Bears games. They're an over machine right now. So I thought his performance was good. They came up short against the Lions, and Lions 2 in a row. So it was good to see that. And other than that, I think Dolphins are legit 7-3. That's 4 in a row now. They blew out the Browns at home. And yeah, that was about it. Saints total fade for the rest of the season for me. And then the Broncos, they're dead.
Yeah, Broncos are officially dead to me. I actually picked them in our graphics here today, thinking that they actually had an opportunity to pull out that victory against Ryan Tannehill, and the Titans weren't able to do that. But yeah, it looks like, at least over the last 2 weeks, or at least today, it looked like Tom Brady looked like Tom Brady, if that makes sense. Like, he had that fire in his eye. Like, you can tell when you've seen Tom Brady, coming out and ready to play. And he had a lot of stuff going on in his personal life with a divorce and all that good, or not good stuff, but things that he was dealing with in his personal life with with family and things like that. So maybe that's something that's past him now. Maybe he can concentrate on playing the game of football. And now the Bucks are 2-2. They've won 2 in a row. I think they're back to 500 now, and they have 7 games left on the season, and now you can maybe focus on football, because again, this team has the talent. It's just about them putting it all together with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I agree with you with the Dolphins. I'm not even going to make much of an argument there. Tua looks great. That offense is clicking. Like, when you have that much speed on your offense, it's something that you're going to see the results that you are from this Dolphins offense. But I wanted to pose this question to you here, Dylan. And there's, I've had conversations in other group chats, whether that's been with, friends or the handicappers and guys like that. If you had to pick one quarterback between Jalen Hurts or Tua to start your organization and be your quarterback of the future, who would it be?
That's a good question. I personally would take Jalen Hurts, to be
Okay.
honest. I think Tua's ascending because of the talent around him. You could say the same thing for Jalen Hurts as well with AJ Brown, but I, I think there's a higher ceiling for Jalen Hurts as opposed to Tua. I think you kind of know what you get from Tua. I think he is a little more accurate, but I don't know. Jalen Hurts is a winner. No matter where he goes, I've watched him in college. No matter if he transfers from Alabama to Oklahoma, he's a winner wherever he goes. So I kind of gravitate towards that a little bit. But I think they're not far off from each other. To be honest, I tweeted it during the game. I think the Jets messed up drafting Zach Wilson. I wish we got Justin Fields. That's a
Mm,
guy I honestly would pick Justin Fields. And it's not recency bias. I just think his body, his overall work, I think you start to see once you start to pull Claypool around him and you start to put other defenses, and especially if you get an offensive line that could actually protect him
yeah.
because he's the most sacked quarterback in the league right now. So
Mhm.
he has to do everything on that. But if you give him a good team like these two quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Tua would have, I think Justin Fields would be just as good as them. Who did you pick?
I actually did pick Jalen Hurts as well. I think that the concern about Tua has been health. Obviously, we saw that coming out of college where he had the whole hip issue, and this season with the concussions and things like that. And the thing about Tua, yeah, it is a longevity concern for me as well. And I think respected people have said that when you're a left-handed quarterback, you're already at a disadvantage
Mm-hmm.
in this league because you don't see a lot of successful left-handed quarterbacks. I mean, what is the last one? You can say Steve Young,
Yeah,
Mark
I was just gonna say.
Brunell. You could throw in that maybe a conversation,
Yeah.
but yeah, look, I mean, but you have to give credit to the Miami Dolphins, actually both the Philadelphia Eagles and the
Mm-hmm.
Miami Dolphins for the team that they have been able to put around Jalen Hurts and both Tua. But both of those quarterbacks coming out of Alabama have looked great so far this season, and the results are showing for both of those teams. So that's been a hot topic of conversation I wanted to pose to you. But Dylan, before we get into the Monday Night Football game to wrap up NFL Week 10, let me tell you guys about our presenting sponsor here, Win. Ready to win money and boost your odds? WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. We're bringing the excitement of Win Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Exclusive rewards are right at your fingertips with Win Rewards on WinBet. Be on the lookout for the WinBet Win Hour each Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And during WinBet Win Hour, marquee games of the week will have better odds on WinBet, giving you a larger payout opportunity. Great promos, odds, and payouts are happening right now at WinBet. From boosted same game parlays to live in game odds on every major sport, WinBet has what you need to win. Ready to play? Sign up today to receive a special offer. Bet 100, win 100. There's so much to choose from, and all you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet so they know that we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WINNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 years or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, Dylan. Monday Night Football to wrap up NFL Week 10. It's going to be an NFC East matchup between the Washington Commanders and the lone undefeated team in the National Football League. That's the Philadelphia Eagles, who sit at a perfect 8-0. These two teams did match up earlier this year, where the Eagles got the 24-8 victory. That was in Washington, where I guess we could say Landover. I think it's in Maryland, really. But
Yeah, Landover, Maryland. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, in that game, like I mentioned, the Eagles covered the spread. They were shutting out the Washington Commanders till the fourth quarter, where they were able to put up 8 points. But other than that, a very, very dominating performance in that game by the Philadelphia Eagles. And really, in that game, it was on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts, where he was 22 of 35, 340 passing yards, 3 touchdowns in that game. Running game wasn't able to really get going in that game against this Washington defense, front seven at least, where the Eagles had 30 carries, but 72 yards, only 2.4 yards on the ground in that game. Carson Wentz was the starting quarterback going up against his former team, where he was 25 of 43, 211 yards in that game for Carson Wentz. But we know that it's right now the Tyler Heineke show for the Washington Commanders. But looking at this game, we'll start with the side here, Dylan. This number actually opened up -10 in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles. I was supposed to say Philadelphia
Yeah.
Phillies. Philadelphia Eagles. That number is now at -11 over on win bet. Total opened up at 45. That number has now been bet down to 43.5. Dylan, let's start with the spread here. And if you have any trends and stats you want to throw out first before I actually get into the spread here.
Yeah, a few trends that honestly, if you're looking towards back in the Commanders, double-digit underdogs on Monday Night Football, 27-13-2 ATS the last 20 years. I think it's also worth noting underdogs of 7 points to 9.5 are 14-18 ATS on Monday night. So the full 10 points, I think, really does matter in this incident. But as for the side, I'm going to take Philly in the first half, -6. Philadelphia has covered this line in half of its game, and they've won by eight plus in 6 of its 8 games. That's 75% they're covering. Washington, we know they continue to get off to slow starts, especially with Heineke. The Commanders, they have a league worst DVOA on offense in the first quarter and rank 30th in the first half, while the Philadelphia Eagles, they rank first on offense and second on defense in the first half. Philadelphia 7-1 ATS in the first half this season, and you avoid the key number by playing that, which I don't really want to lay 10.5, to be honest. So laying 6 here, it's a little juicy, -130, but like you mentioned, the Eagles were able to run up the score the first time these two teams played. It was 24-0 in the second quarter, and they were able to get pressure on Carson Wentz, even though he won't be playing. They sacked him 9 times. I think they will be able to get to Heineke. I don't trust the offensive line for Washington. So I think the Eagles continue to cover the first half. So -6. I see 6.5s out there. I still like it.
Yeah, this is something I had tweeted out a while back for the Philadelphia Eagles, how they are one of the best or are the best team scoring in the second quarter. They are number 1 in the league where they're averaging 16.6 points per game in that second quarter this season. I think a lot of their games have gone over the number in that second quarter. I wish I could have gotten that updated number, but I remember I tweeted this out when it was the Arizona game where it was a perfect at that time. I think it was like 5-0 or 6-0 when they faced them, that the second quarters were going over in those games for the Philadelphia Eagles. And like you mentioned, they've been a great team in that first half. And, that just kind of correlates to, them being that best team scoring in that second quarter. Yeah, it is a key number here of past the 10 here for the Philadelphia Eagles in this game. I agree with that about your first half play there. What makes me nervous about the Eagles full game is that they just kind of take the foot off the gas in the second half.
Yeah.
Because right now they rank number 26 in the entire league in second half scoring, where they're only averaging 8 points per game. At home this season, only 7.3 in that second half scoring wise. They're right down there with Houston, Green Bay, Denver, Pittsburgh, the Rams, and Tennessee as teams that aren't able to really score in the second half. So I think they'll find a way here on Monday Night Football to cover this number. This is a great teaser leg option if you do play those, 7-point or even, those sweetheart 10-point teasers. Maybe if we want to tease this to something next week, but I'm still very confident about the Eagles getting this done here, -11 at home in this game. I just think number one, there's not enough offensively for the for the Washington Commanders. I know they do get Jahan Dotson back in this game, and I should have gone through the injury report here. So let me do that here real quick before we get to the total in this game. So for the Washington Commanders, John Dotson, like I said, will make his return. JD McKissick is going to be out for the Washington Commanders in this game. And David Mayo, hamstring linebacker, is also out for this game for the Washington Commanders. And then Andrew Norwell, offensive guard on that offensive line for the Commanders, is going to be out for, questionable for this game. And then for the Eagles on their injury report, pretty clean. Avonte Maddox is the only cornerback that's going to be out he has a hamstring issue. Other than that, pretty clean injury report for this team. But Yeah, I just think I was just saying is that I just don't think that the Washington Commanders have enough offensively to maybe keep up with the scoring that the Philadelphia Eagles do pose. I think this is going to be a game here, Dylan, where I think it's going to have to be on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts, like it was in
Mhm.
that previous matchup this season where he threw for 300 plus yards. Their run defense for the Washington Commanders has been really good. But I think that's going to have to be it's going to have to be Jalen Hurts and it's going to be AJ Brown and Devontae Smith again in this game.
Yeah, 100%. And I think at night at the link, I think Eagles being home with that crowd, I love them. They're 4-0 ATS at home this year, 11-4 ATS in the last 16 games. So I like the Eagles, I think, but they do worry me, which is why I kind of lean to the first half because they do tend to take their foot off the gas. But we'll see. I think they blow the doors off of them.
Yeah, a couple of trends I also did want to mention in this game here for between these two teams. I'm sorry, head to head, Trent's Commanders are 1-3-1 against the spread in their last 5 meetings in Philadelphia. Commanders are 3-7-1 against the spread in their last 11 meetings against the Eagles. And home teams are 3-1-1 against the spread in the last 5 meetings between these two teams. Anything else for the any other sides here? I know you like the first half here, but anything else before we get to the total here?
Yeah, I would lean. I am taking the first half. I would lean if you are going to take a side. Maybe money continues to come in on the Eagles, and if you like the Commanders, maybe they do get up to 11. Then I would play them.
Okay. Total right now sitting here at 43 and a half here, Dylan. What are you thinking about the total here?
Yeah, I'm going back to the primetime unders. I played a primetime game over last week and it was dead in the first quarter. So never again. I'm gonna go back to here for under 43 and a half. Monday night divisional totals from 41 to 48. They're 27, 15, and 1 in the past decade, hitting over 64%. They're 3-0 this year. And as for the Commanders, they've gone under this number in 4 of their last 5 games while the Commanders have held to 17 or fewer points in all of those games. So they might be playing close games, but they're having trouble scoring the ball. So Washington has the run defense to limit Philly, like you mentioned, but the Eagles defense should have its way against that Washington O line. So this game screams under. Cold here on the East Coast. Give me under 43 and a half.
Yeah, I'm trying to filter this down since Ron Riverboat Rivera was hired as the Commanders head coach and looking at just the over unders in his division games here. Washington are 5-8-1, or sorry, 8-5-1 to the under in division games, firing at 61%. Philadelphia's in that span 7-7. So not much there, but yeah, I think we might see something uh, that we saw earlier this season in the matchup between these two teams in week 3, where like a 24-8 victory would be enough for them, number one, for this game to go under the total, and then also the Eagles covering in that game, because again, I just don't think that there's enough offensively for the Washington Commanders to keep up in this game with the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get over to some player props in this game here. Dylan, what do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to go AJ Brown, longest reception, over 26 and a half yards, minus 114. Through the first 8 games, Brown has a grab of at least 31 yards in 5 games of those 8 games. So he's also brought in a 38-yard grab versus the same defense back in week 3. Even in the 2 games that the Eagles have been very heavy double-digit favorites, he's had a 30-yard grab in each of those games. So they're not just running the ball, they're throwing it downfield with Hurts. Brown, he's also a deep threat, especially with Hurts being very accurate with his deep ball. Jalen Hurts, 52.4% completion percentage on deep balls, is the 5th best mark in the NFL. So he's very accurate throwing it downfield. I think with the RPO style offense the Eagles run, Brown will have plenty of opportunities to catch the ball and even rack up some yards after the catch. So going over 26 and a half longest reception for AJ Brown.
Yeah, I like that. Like you mentioned, if you've just watched some of these Eagles game over the past couple weeks, him and AJ or Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown are really hitting their stride in some of these games and been able to find that connection down the field. And like you mentioned it last week against the Texans 31, but against the Steelers 43 yards, 22 yards against the Cowboys, even earlier in the year 31, 38, 23, 54. So he's a great downfield threat. He has that ability to break one out as well. and he does have that speed to have a big gain in these games. So yeah, I like that play. I'm gonna go with Jalen Hurts over 243 and a half passing yards. Again, I think that it's gonna have to be a script where it's gonna be have to be on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts in this game. And you kind of take a look at the Washington Commanders rush defense. It's pretty good. They are well above league average at number 12 this season. For their season long, they're only allowing 4.4 yards per carry. If I even filter that down to the over the last 3 weeks, the Washington Commanders are like only 3.6 yards per carry in that span, where they rank number 4 in the entire league as far as rush defense. And then if you want to take a look at overall yardage, what they've given up on the ground, Washington Commanders season long, they're number 10, where they're only allowing 113.2. But in the last 3 games, 76.3, which ranks just behind Tennessee and Baltimore. So I think it's going to have to be on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts in this game. I think that he's more than capable of doing that. We saw him in that previous matchup throw for 340 yards in that game against the Washington Commanders. So I'm going to go right back to Jalen Hurts in this game to go over on his passing yards. Any other ones that you are looking at as far as player props in this game?
No, but I do comment. I do like it. I think with Washington being able to stop the run as good as they can, I do think he's going to have to air it out a little more, which does worry me about the under a little bit. But
Yeah.
because I do think if they break it open, I think Philly could open a 30-40 clip on them. So,
Yeah, even his passing touchdowns number right now,
one
over
and a
one and a
half.
half is at plus 105.
Oh, yeah, I
That
might have
sounds
to
a little
sprinkle a
spicy.
little on that.
Yeah, I like that as well. So I'll give those two out. Jalen Hurts over 243 and a half passing yards and over 1.5 passing touchdowns in this game at plus money. I really like that at plus money. Any other player props in this game, Dylan?
No, that's it. I just had one that I really liked.
All right. Let's get over to best bets. Or before we get into best bets, let me tell you guys about our newly launched merch store or relaunched merch store over at the Sports Gambling Podcast. It's the holiday season, guys, and if you're listening to this pod, you're a DJ or you have a friend or family member that's a DJ as well, and you're looking for an item or a couple things to get them as a holiday present or even a stocking stuffer. Well, you need to get over to the Sports Gambling Podcast Network's merch store, because right now, or not right now, well, yeah, right now, before Thanksgiving, till the end of Thanksgiving, we are giving 10% off of anything on over on the merch store. So get over there, check out all the newly launched gear. There's a really nice Christmas sweater. I know you guys will have holiday parties, whether that's with friends or family. Really nice sweater. It says "Let It Ride" on there. I checked it out myself. Gonna order myself one when I have the holiday parties. But if you make sure you order one before Thanksgiving, or anything that you order, you'll get 10% off. But make sure to use promo code Dallas Sucks for that 10% promo code. It's Dallas Sucks as that promo code. It's 10% off of your entire order, and that's only valid at store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. That's again, store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com to get 10% off using promo code Dallas Sucks. Yeah, I laugh every
I
time.
love it. I love
It's
it. I
just
love
right
the
on
promo
brand.
code.
It's just right on brand for SGPN.
Yeah.
All right, Dylan, let's get into some best bets here for this Monday night football game between the Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you want to give out as your best bet?
I really like two that I gave out. I like the Phillies -6. I got it at -130. I don't want to give out a -130. It's a little chalky. So I'll go over to my player prop, AJ Brown over 26 and a half, longest reception. Out of the 8 games so far, he's hit it at 5 of the 8. Like you mentioned, I think Washington, they're going to have a good job, or they're going to be able to stop the run, or be able to at least limit it. So I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a big game passing it. I think he's accurate throwing the ball downfield, and I don't think their secondary is going to be able to guard all the weapons that the Eagles have. So I think he gets one over 30 yards. I like A.J. Brown over 26 and a half longest reception.
Yeah, love that as well. I'll go with the under in this game. I just think that we'll see defense being on display in this game, whether that's, I think the stats will be racked up, but I think we'll see great red zone defense. And look, Eagles are one of the few teams in the entire National Football League, with I think only San Francisco and Buffalo, that are top 10 in yards per play on offense, and allowing, or are top 10 in yards per play allowed. And I think that we'll see repeat of what kind of transpired in that first game, in that week 3 matchup between the Commanders and the Eagles, where it's a low scoring game that Eagles still get the cover, but I just don't think Washington will be able to do a lot on offense in this game. So I will take the under 43.5 in this game. And I think Jalen Hurts has a great night as well. I'm going to take that plus money over on his passing yards. Over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus 105 as a player prop that I do like in this game here as well.
Love it.
All right, Dylan, that's going to do it, man. NFL Week 10 is already in the books. One last game on Monday Night Football to wrap up the Week 10 schedule. Anything else you want to get off your chest, my man, before we get out of here?
No, I just really hope the Cowboys hold on to this. If they win, I improve to 5-1 on the day. So really hoping the Cowboys hold on to it. I know they suck, and that's the promo code, but you know.
Yeah. Currently in Green Bay right now, they're up, I think, by 7, 28-21. I think Green Bay put up a touchdown. But yeah, hopefully they get that cover for you. So you have a great day of NFL Week 10 on Sunday. All right. So that's going to do it for this show. Make sure to check us out throughout the week. I know Ryan, Rod are going to do the recap show as they usually do on Mondays, recapping everything that we saw over the weekend and look ahead to week 12, not week 11, but week 12 lines, so where you can get ahead of those lines before they're either, the good numbers are taken, or you can, take advantage of those. I know those guys have been crushing it on those plays so far this season. So make sure to check them out. And we'll be here as usual all week on the NFL Gambling Podcast. All right, that's going to do it. Good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.